How do you do? Here we go. It's one of those days that we're going to talk serious and be happy at the same time. Because you see, when they say all work and no play makes Soni a dull boy, I don't think they were wrong in saying that. It's just simply because, if you don't start life, looking at life in a most resonatingly, that's big English, happy manner, you begin to mix up things and ask yourself, where am I? What's happening to me? Like I was almost sounding just now. Today we're going to discuss how to manage our funds and indeed how to also play games in a business way. Interesting. Managing funds, somebody said, what's the meaning of financial jurisprudence? I said, I don't know about the jury bit of it, but prudence, maybe. And then what's the meaning of financial management? I said, well, that's to manage money now, not so. It depends. But you see, the truth is, God did not make us businessmen. God made us with enough capacity to know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, who to do it with, and things like that. Okay? And I have a very special guest in the studio. I think somebody said to me the other day, Soni, you're beginning to invite only the women. I said, no, it's not simply because of that. It's just that when I have a checklist and I look at the top ratings of what is to be discussed and who is capable of discussing it. My goodness, the women are hitting the top list. Do not blame you, but I have Mrs. Nimi Akinkugbe in the studio. And this lady, as we will say in a rather unserious manner, packs a punch. She's a financial manager. She's been a banker many years over. She's been a columnist many years over. She's written for all the magazines that you care to talk about around the world. And guess what? She now became the African distributor of Monopoly. You know the Monopoly game? I don't know how many of you know how to play that game. But anyway, in the course, you'll be listening to Mrs. Nimi Akinkugbe. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I need to also say here that she has a lovely voice as well. Now, what's this all about, financial management?
Financial management is something that people should see as a way of life, part of their lives. But a lot of people struggle in this area of their lives. So over many, many years, I've been very involved in my banking career and afterwards to try to just teach people about their personal finances and managing that part of their lives. Mm-hmm.
And you were getting many converts alongside.
I think so. I
wonder why I wasn't lucky enough to be that close to you. Because
you're supposed to read the articles in the newspaper and in Genevieve magazine.
Yes, I do read them, but every time I want to remember to ask you, I seem to forget until I've bungled. And I say, where's Nimi? Maybe she'll be able to help me out in this. No, but really, for anyone to succeed in life, what should he be doing? Let's look at it from a salary earner's point of view or even a business owner's point of view.
Well, the first thing is to have goals. Many people don't actually have set goals that they're working towards. So it's important to have short, medium, and long-term goals. What do you want to do in the next 1 year? Do you want to move out of your house and start to own your own property? Or is it about your children's school fees or educating yourself? Have those goals in place before you then start to put a budget together to try to build your funds to achieve those goals.
What of that person who thinks big, dreams big, but doesn't have the resources to go with it?
They have to start to save. I believe that no matter what your income is, I think if you put aside something every single month, it will grow. It will grow. But it's important to start. Most people say, oh, there's nothing to save. Where will I get the money from? But you've got to start somewhere. It's also important to realize that we have a huge unemployment crisis, not just in Nigeria, but across the world. So we all have to try to become entrepreneurs. We have to look at our own talents, our passion, our experience, and start to see where we can earn from those gifts that we have.
Nigerians, are you listening at all? I hope you're listening, because can you just step back a bit and repeat the last two sentences?
No, I was saying there's a huge unemployment problem. It is huge, and it is not just a Nigerian problem, it's global. But ours is even worse because we have a huge youth population.
Wow.
But I do believe that every one of us has a God-given talent. If we would identify it and nurture it, I think it could help us in terms of earning income. People are singers, they're good at football, they're good at mathematics, they're good at IT, they can write. There's so many things people do, but they're fantastic cooks or they can sew. Even if you're working, you're not earning enough to save, is there something that you can do that will help you to earn? Are you good at public speaking? Are you good at event planning? That you could possibly do in your spare time that will augment your income. It's important that we all think that way, because even those who are employed could be unemployed tomorrow. No job, there's no job security. No employer owes you a job.
I see sometimes where people, yes, they dream big and they actually plan like this. But the concept of banking, seems to be in conflict with some beliefs about how, if I say I earn 10,000 naira a month, right? I assume that I should be able to save 1,000 naira out of it every month. Now, I expect that if I put it in my bank, in my savings account, I must expect some some percentage profit or interest.
Interest, yes.
Now, what if the percentage interest is so minimal that it's not encouraging?
In a savings account, it will be minimal and it will not be encouraging. But you do have to have some savings in cash. You have to have an emergency.
You just hit it so hard, didn't you?
No, it will. It will not be encouraging. The savings account, the interest rates are minimal.
Maybe
it doesn't
1 or 2% or 4%.
If that, and in your current account, you're not earning any interest at all. So it's not even keeping pace with inflation. But you do have to keep some cash aside. The thing, what I find useful when I find my financial situation is sort of running away and I'm not coping, I track my expenses. Literally write every single thing down. You'll be amazed at where a lot of waste goes. Sometimes on a Friday you take some money out and Monday morning you don't even know what you did with the money. You've been buying things on the roadside.
And when you look at it together, it's so much.
It adds up. So it could be your phone bill that you've got to find a way of cutting back on. There's so many things. And if you do this for a month and just track your expenses, you'll be astonished that you will find some money that could have gone.
Do you realize you're talking to me? This is me. Gosh, man.
Because you don't account for it.
No.
On my way here, I've already bought some newspapers and some plantain.
At least one is for knowledge or information management, and the other is for the stomach.
But you're not accounting for it and not knowing how often you're buying.
But
these
the truth
things
is,
and
you have
tracking it
to
out.
buy
Yes,
them.
you have to buy them, but at least know where your money is going. Yes.
Okay. Now you left banking. Now I was just wondering why.
I was in banking for 24 years. First at Stanbic IBTC for 21, and then Barclays Bank. I was looking after the West Africa region as regional director for 2 years. Yes, and I just felt I needed a change. I needed to do something else, but still stay within the personal financial space. So that's what I'm doing.
And what do you advise Nigerians who are going into banking?
It's a very fulfilling career. Supporting people with their finances. There are many banks. There aren't that many jobs, so it's important to realize that thousands and thousands of applications for just a few jobs. So you need to know the area you want to be in and make sure you learn about it before you go in.
Let's go back to this financial management issue. Nigerians squander us. I'm using the words of a friend of mine.
That's not a very nice word.
Squander us. They say it depends on who has the opportunity to have enough money at any given time, and they just use it as they like. It's like they celebrate a lot. They tend to be seen as being wasteful. Forgive my language, it's just what people are thinking. But I don't know if there's an atom of truth in them. What should we do to... I know you've answered it indirectly, but what should we do to draw home the point that they have to learn to save?
Well, a lot of us tend to get carried away trying to keep up with the Joneses and show off to our friends and neighbors. The problem with that is that you almost mortgage your financial future by keeping up with other people. It's so important to focus on your own goals and not your neighbor's goals. So we're so busy trying to live in a bigger house or get a bigger car or make sure you're wearing the appropriate attire for the next wedding and so on. And meanwhile, you don't have money in the bank for school fees and for rent and so on.
Another hard reality. Hmm.
So it's important that that's why I come back to your goals. What are you trying to achieve? Not what your friend is trying to achieve. What are you trying to achieve in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years and beyond?
So if you have parents, because I have 5 cases, on my Facebook, people were someone sent me a message complaining that, her father didn't let her go after her dream.
Yes, yes.
And there was another young man who said his elder brother was insisting he had to be a lawyer because it was a family of lawyers. And he was asking me, what should I do? He inboxed me and I said, follow your dream, but please convince them.
but a law degree would be an awesome thing to have.
But the spirit is not in it.
It's not in it.
That's the problem.
I know, it's very difficult. I'm a musician myself. I'm a pianist, and I see a lot of musicians.
You are a musician?
I'm a pianist. I'm a pianist by training.
Ah.
Yeah.
And you are a financial expert.
But I kept mine as a hobby. But I'm a qualified piano teacher, so I have a formal teaching qualification.
Maybe you should continue teaching me, because I was my school's pianist. I played piano for my school for 4 years, but I can't play a note today.
Oh no, that's
so.
Terrible.
What went wrong?
You didn't practice, and nobody had a cane over you.
I think my fingers just got a bit. Thank God I don't have that.
You had lessons, and you can't play a note.
Well, I mean, I still remember the ones in my head, but I can't.
No, that's.
Please. Anyway, I think we'll look for a way out, because retirement will soon come, and we'll definitely.
You might have to dig up your piano books afterwards. Yeah.
Yes, but let's now bring you to this thing about African distribution of monopoly. First, what is monopoly?
Monopoly is a leading personal finance board game. It's a property trading game, and the brand Monopoly will be 80 years old in 2015. It's an 80-year-old game, so generations of families have grown up playing Monopoly.
And I know that we used to play it in those days, but I'm not sure if it's not very popular in Nigeria.
We're trying to reverse that, and we've been very successful at it so far, because we feel very strongly that even though we're all going digital, there is an important place for face-to-face interaction among families and friends. It's so important that people are relating together, bringing families back together. So we will launch a digital edition down the line, but we want to re-establish board gaming. And even in our history, board games have been played. So you have a lot of Ludo, Snakes and Ladders. IO is our traditional game.
The IO game, yes.
Yes, so people are playing board games, and we're finding that that's working very well.
Okay.
But Monopoly is more than a board game. It's teaching so many different things in it.
Especially business sense.
Yes, absolutely.
I can tell you right now, those who are listening are already thinking of how does this monopoly work? Yeah. Okay, just give me an example. How does it work?
No, you're landing on property. You're purchasing property in different parts of Lagos. Most of us grew up playing the London edition, so you knew about Mayfair, Park Lane, and so on. Now in ours, we have Banana Island, we have Agege, we have Ikeja, and so on. So it's teaching people about the city of Lagos for a start.
Okay.
It's also teaching them about the value of buying real estate.
Okay.
It talks about salary, collecting your salary. It talks about getting income, paying your taxes. Going to jail, going directly to Kirikiri jail.
Ouch. Is there a snake and ladder concept in it? Because maybe if you hit the wrong...
you hit the wrong thing.
Oh, God.
Yes, and then, unfortunately, civics is not taught so much in schools now. We've managed to infuse in the opportunity and chance cards the laws of the land, how to behave, how we should behave by paying our taxes properly, not dumping refuse. So you're penalized for negative behavior, and you're rewarded for positive behavior in the board game. So it's teaching that. It also presents African cities and in Nigerian cities in a very positive way. If you Google Africa, it's quite startling what you see. You'll see children
on the street, hungry,
kwashiorkor, looking very glum. And people have that impression. And if we don't present the good of our own continent in a positive way, nobody else will do it for us. So by the time you see our monopoly boards, and we're going to do this right across Africa, we have 48 countries in the mix. We'll present these countries in a very powerful way, which we hope will improve foreign interest and so on. Yeah.
Okay. If we look at the game the way sort of indirectly or directly teaches how to be sensible in business.
Yes.
Does it then mean that it will also largely positively influence the direct professional, attitude towards business?
It's a personal finance game. It's a personal financial management game. And if you can tackle your personal finances, it's teaching you about saving, investing, the importance of getting rent, importance of getting dividends or a salary. So you're about earning. It talks about negotiation, because you have to play as a team with the fellow players and ensure that you are, making a headway by negotiating properly and so on. It talks about there not being shortcuts. Success comes from going the whole hog. Not taking shortcuts.
What if you have a bad habit and they say habit is difficult to break?
You can be caught out in the game. It was so funny. A friend of mine was saying recently that she hadn't played face to face with her children for so long. With her two sons, one of the boys went to the bathroom and his younger brother stole his money. Now it was funny, but it was not funny
at all,
because they had never actually seen this trait. It was only in a game, but they had to now talk about cheating.
Are you serious?
Talk about stealing. Yes, that came out. She said they had never had a family moment where...
Because it's subconscious behavior suddenly became...
Yes, it was very, very interesting. Yes.
Okay, so I did say I was going to try and... let's take calls earlier, because somebody accused me of... can you have 30 minutes all to yourself from your guest? That's not fair. Give us a chance to call. All right. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you awake? Who's calling? Where are you calling from?
This is Mary from Badagry.
Sir, say that again.
Mary from Badagry.
Maurice from Badagry. How are you? Oh, yes.
Mary.
Mary. Oh, Mother of Jesus. You're awake. Okay, so go ahead.
I would like her to advise me on how I can help myself financially as a teenager.
You're a teenager.
To a certain extent, I can get hold of some cash and money which I have to myself. But now, financially, how I can help myself and cultivate that habit.
Oh, that's wonderful! I'm really proud of you. It's nice to see a teenager thinking that way. You started just thinking about it. You started out right. So the thing is that whatever money comes your way, if you can put aside at least 10% of it. Do you tithe?
Oh, I cut that off. I'm sorry. Okay. Say that again. You can say that as a general message. Go ahead.
Yes. No, I was just going to ask her if she tithes and puts any money aside at church.
Okay. Oh, tithes. Okay.
If she does tithe. Okay. But after that, if she could put 10% aside and try and save that way religiously every time she gets this money.
So tithing is a very good, practice.
It's absolutely. I think it's a way of giving back, and and different religions have different versions of that.
Okay.
And a lot of people do that. It's important.
Right.
But I really feel that I wanted to tell her that she should also make sure on holidays she's not just sitting at home idle. She should be doing holiday jobs.
Mary, I hope you heard that. On holidays, also
vacation jobs,
busy.
Internships, all that have a huge impact. Even in the future, when she's in the workforce, it'll count as work experience what she was doing, and she'll be earning now and can begin to save part of that money.
Okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, bring down the volume. How are you? Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Samuel Abiodun. I've been listening to your program.
Thank you. Where are you calling from?
So glad. Can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Lagos.
Go ahead, please.
I'm driving at the moment. I have to park.
Thank you. Thank you.
Number one, she said she has worked in the banking industry for about 20, 24 years or something. I have a question. These people who want to borrow us money, they talk about 23, 26% to somebody that is just starting. How do you think one can break free in that? That's number one. Number two, in the era of this financial management, I'm somebody, are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm somebody that I so much love myself. I save a lot. For as far back as I'm in primary 5, 1989, I've been saving. I save open this, I can open that. But the truth of the matter is, I don't even know what to do with the money. I'm just saving. Now, because I like traveling, I think last year I went to about 4 countries. Went to the US, went to America, went to UK. Finished all the money, almost 4 million. I'm just saving. As I'm talking to you, I started saving again. I'm just saving. Yes, I have a landed property, about 2 of them, I thank God. Do you understand? So, please, need your advice on that. But let me buttress my point again. On this issue of loan, I've applied to a bank that want to borrow me money because I needed to do the project. But I'm upset about what they said. At the end of the day, they said, okay, well, they are borrowing you 2,000 naira, for example, and I need 2,800 to do the job. They said I need to put something, they call it something, contribution or something. Now, the question is as follows. If I have money, why do I have to come to you to come and borrow? Why do you tell me I have to still put certain whatever? I don't want to mention which on the banks thing they don't. I don't know. It's not, I think that's what they do all over the bank.
Yes.
So there's no need hiding the banks. The bank is standing identity. Why do you need to tell me I should? I should put. I don't know. Maybe you get what I'm saying. It's like give me my son school fees.
Okay, just give her a chance to answer your question. Okay.
No, but you clearly did not need to borrow if you've been on 4 holidays last year. You could have used 4 countries. 4 countries. You could have used part of that money. I mean, if you have cash.
No. That project don't come up this year. I'm talking of sometimes last year.
Okay. Yes. No. What I'm saying is, you are a very, very strong saver. Now, if you've got
I have more than 6-7 banks, 2,000, 3,000, 1 million. That's where
for a start. Can you just narrow that down to maybe 2 banks? Because your money is spread so thin. And when your money is spread so thin and you go to banks and try and borrow, the terms are much stiffer than if you consolidate and have a serious relationship with 1 or 2 banks. So you have too many banks for a start. But what I'm saying is that since you save so well, I mean, I'm very impressed with your savings habit. You should be able to save for your needs without having to borrow at 26%. You shouldn't have to borrow. Because you have enough money there.
I hope you heard that now.
Yeah, I heard.
If you're saving...
As a matter of fact, sorry please, ma'am, sorry. As a matter of fact, this is the first time I'm taking such a project. It's about 13 million projects. All the job I've been taking is about 350, 500, 800, 700. So from there I've been saving all this small
so you
money.
You can save...
What to do.
Yes, yeah. So you can afford to put a significant down payment down, which will help you to pay off the loan in a much quicker, much sooner than you would have otherwise. If you put what's the down payment they're asking you for?
Yes, they said that the project that I needed down payment of about maybe 750, 800. But at the moment, my money is tied down here and there. The people I've worked for, so I don't have the money to.
But you have money in all these eight banks. You need to gather some of that money from all those 8 banks.
And they should trace the history of your saving too.
Yeah,
I think. Okay, thank you very much. I hope others are listening, and I'm going to take another call now. Hello.
Soni, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well. Young Stefan from Ibele. Yeah, I guess it's wonderful. You trained in Nigeria?
You trained in Nigeria, so you're wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
So were you trained in Nigeria?
Yes, I was trained in Nigeria and out of the country as well.
In one of Nigeria universities.
Sorry?
Yeah, I said in one of Nigeria.
I did my MBA at Lagos Business School. My first degree was in the UK.
Okay.
Wow. We are proud of you. You are great.
Thank you.
Yes, my question, very quick one. Soni,
yes.
That's for me. Yeah. Is there any nexus between maybe insurance and this saving? You know, in this part of the world, insurance is a way of saving also.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Is there any nexus?
Is there any
connection between insurance? You know, entering into an insurance contract and saving.
Absolutely. Yes. Many times you can get a plan that is tied to your savings. And on maturity, you get a. Do
they get to pay you? You know, if there is no, untoward, it is not suffering loss. Do they get to pay you back?
Yes, I mean, of course. We assume you're going to select a strong, well-rated insurance company, and there are some very, very good insurance companies who do pay when the funds are due.
Okay, so it's a means of saving it also.
Yes, you can choose a plan, an insurance product that has a savings part to it.
Thank you very much. I'm just enjoying your
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you for bringing all these good guys into your studio.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello.
Yo, hello?
Yes, how are you?
Yeah, good day. Am I speaking with Inspiration FM?
Yes, Inspiration 92.3 FM. Yes, with all pleasure.
Okay, yeah, this is Service calling from Port Harcourt.
Port Harcourt, how are you? Good. Go ahead.
Fine.
Yes.
I'm fine. I want to ask Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate her for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
Although, but I want to ask her something.
Yes.
Like me, I'm into manufacturing small scale. And when you try to enter into business in Nigeria, there are a lot of forces that will come up against you. But not just the savings aspect of it. Maybe when you set up something, the NAFDAC, the local government agencies, the government agencies, this and that and all that. And then now, for me personally, I've tried as much as I can to save money. And I've also tried as much as I can to invest even in insurance, in life policy, with so many insurance companies. But when we do strike a deal normally, but when it's about the maturity and I want to get this money, they start dribbling me.
Okay.
And now you find out something, that these people know that they are going to dribble people. And the house isn't lawyers who can even convince the judge in the court. Like, I have 2 cases with insurance companies who I have tried to contribute since I started working since 2008. And when they were supposed to pay me this money in 2012, they started telling me all sorts of stories. I traveled from Port Harcourt to Lagos and all that. And this was money that I set aside to use it for a project in 2013. And then now, in Nigeria, when you are planning your life, a lot of forces come up against you. And I want to ask her, in her expertise as a banker.
Okay. You need to make your question so simple so that she can answer it. Yes,
go
ahead.
Okay, now. Okay.
No, she has understood.
I've understood.
Hello?
She has understood you. Hold on. She has understood.
No,
Let her answer.
First
Yes.
of all, you mentioned that you had several insurance companies. I was a bit surprised at that because I don't know how many policies you have. Also, the insurance industry is regulated by the National Insurance Company. Have you been to them to register your complaint and name these companies that are defaulting? Because there's a regulator.
Mm-hmm.
So you should report these cases to the regulator to see how they can follow up. Because this is very, very damaging for the industry. This is what makes many people not want to insure because they're worried that the insurance companies won't meet their obligations. So you must report it.
Okay.
You got that, okay?
But then you have too many. You said you have several insurance companies. I don't know.
Like I have about four insurance companies, and all of them are just doing the same thing. Seriously.
Okay. All right. So check it out, and maybe you should also narrow it down to manageable number, as we say.
Yes, but do report it to the regulator.
Thank you. Hello. Yeah. Hi. How are you? Go ahead, please.
Yeah. This is Elizabeth calling from Aja.
Olumide, you said?
Elizabeth.
Okay. Forgive me. Yes.
I do have a question about short and long-term goals. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
When she talked about savings and all that. Yeah, for a young person that has a long-term goal of like going to study. Okay, let me say I'm a musician and I intend going to a conservatory to study.
Yeah.
I studied at Muslim Center, and in Nigeria we don't really have a very good music conservatory. We don't even have a conservatory here in Nigeria. So that's a long-term goal.
Yeah.
But of course, it has to do with there's a lot of finances into it if you're going out to do something like that. And you can afford it. So what do you think about working with a short-term goal that has to do with, let's say, going for summer programs organized by good schools, right? That has to do with vocal training, instrumental, whatever. Do you think it's advisable to use some of the savings you have if it can help you afford the summer programs, which is more like a short-term goal as opposed to the long-term goal, like saving for years before having the opportunity to go?
You can take it in bite-sized pieces. You can do something that will help you along and improve you. You'll get better and better. Now, there are scholarships all over the world. Some of the top schools have scholarships. Some of these shorter programs that you're going on, and if you're determined and get better and better in what you're doing, you start to apply for scholarships, even if it's part payment. That might help you towards the long-term goal. But yes, I do advise that you take advantage of whatever programs you can go on in the short term.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hello. Oops. Did I miss you? All right. So there's so many calls. Okay. Hello. Okay. Now questions. I earn 1,000 per week. I tithe, so I give 100 naira, so I have 900, and I find it hard to save. 1-year-old girl, please help me. 11 years old. 11 years old. Sorry, I said once. Okay, I didn't say that well. Thank you, Rufai. 11 years old. And another question is, how can one get finance for cosmetics and pharmaceutical manufacturing industry? And then before the month end, you're already broke. In this case, do you borrow to save? Now, 3 questions, huh?
The first one from the 11-year-old girl.
Yes, let's start with that.
I think that's wonderful. She said she tithes 100
Yes.
and she has 900 left.
Yes.
And then she
So
said
I find it hard to save.
No, she has to try and save. She's living at home with her parents.
Apparently.
Free food, free rent. I think she's doing very, very well. I think she can afford to save another 100 or another 200 there. Definitely.
Well, so that gives her about 700 to play with.
I would have thought she should just keep 500 to play with.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if she's got to buy her school snacks from that when she gets to school at break time. I hope not. It's a week, she said, 1,000 a week.
Yes.
Yes. No, she should be able to save.
She's not doing badly. She's earning 4,000 a month.
Yes,
wow.
absolutely.
Well, that's a good parent, I must say.
Fantastic.
And then how can one get finance for cosmetics and pharmaceutical manufacturing industry?
Now, that I would have to come back to you. I don't want to say something that I'm not very sure about, but is there a way they can write to you and you take the details down and get back? Okay, so I'll find
In fact, at the end of the program, you can also leave your email address.
Okay, great. But the small businesses, it's a small business and they need to sort of find where they can get financing from.
Beautiful. And then before the month ends, I'm already broke. In this case, do you borrow to save?
No, you don't. You don't borrow to save. Track your expenses and know where your money is going. Where is it going? Do you know? Can you categorically say that there's no waste at all? So track your expenses, write everything down for a month, and find out where the excess is, and see exactly where you can cut a bit away and save that.
You seem to love music as you play music, yeah?
Yes.
But tell me, how much time do you have for all of this business, music, and how do you interplay?
Music is a way of life for me. I've been playing the piano since I was 3 years old, and went to diploma level, piano teaching diploma with it. And then my family have a foundation.
Yes.
And we have a Christmas concert every year because my brothers and sisters, we're all musical and our children are musicians as well. So we all perform in this concert and the proceeds go to raising scholarships for children.
Wow.
So it's the Ajimagobia Science Foundation Christmas concert.
Okay.
Hope you'll come this year.
No, I will. I must. In fact, Inspiration probably will also cover it and give some reports on it because anything charity is good for me.
Our first scholars are in medical school now, so it's wonderful.
Wow.
So I play 30 minutes to an hour every day. I try to do.
Hello.
Good afternoon. My name is Ada.
Ada, yes. Go ahead.
Yes,
please.
so I'm calling from Ada. Okay. Good afternoon to the guest speaker we have in the house.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well. Please, I would like to ask the question.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're talking about long-term goals and savings plan and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, for instance, where you have a long-term goal to go do your master's abroad, and currently the savings plan you have is about 10,000 a month. You know that it will really take you a long time before you achieve that. So now I want to ask, because I started a savings plan which is about 10,000 a month. And I wanted to, I thought about that maybe after I could invest into something that could yield interest or yield returns while I continue the savings plan. So that at the end of the day, I could be able to work on the goals I have. So I would really like to know if there are small-scale investments that one could do to get such interest rates come in. Yeah.
What's your time frame? Because the investments that you make depend on the time frame. So, for example, if you put money in the stock market, in the short term, it's very dangerous because the stock market is volatile.
Okay.
But over the long term, say 5 years down the line or beyond, you have a better chance of getting a higher rate of return than you would on a bank deposit. Okay. Now, in the stock market, you have mutual funds, which are pooled funds. That's thousands of people are putting their money together in an investment that's managed in the stock market. For as little as 10,000 naira, you can enter the mutual fund. But they're long-term investments. So it's very, very important that you're not putting money in the stock market that you need for next year or in 2 years' time.
Okay. So what would be the likely investment plan when you need it for, like, in the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years, I'm sorry, but there isn't a huge amount that you can do. It has to be in a bank deposit. So you're going to be in the money market, which is the short term. If you put something in the stock market for 2 years' time and then the market crashes, it'll be very difficult for you. You could actually lose your money. Is there any other way you can earn additional income from part-time work or doing something at the weekends, or do you have any skill that you could earn from?
Okay, actually, I recently enrolled to learn photography.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
May I know how old you are?
Say you remove just take 22 away from.
22 away from? Hello? Because you're going to give me your age, you suddenly went awol.
You said?
Is it 22 away from?
2 years away from 30.
3 years away from 30. She's 27.
You don't sound 27. You sound 17.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
No, that's great, because that's what I was talking about earlier about developing your skill and passion.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that need photographs taken. So maybe, if you take this seriously and get very good at it, you can start to do small functions and start to grow. The 10,000 a month is not in the money market, is not going to grow to the point you need for your masters. So you're going to need to earn additional funds from elsewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I would like to ask, how can we get your board, the Monopoly board you were talking about?
They're in ShopRite, Quintessence. Hello?
Yes, go on.
If you go to www.bestmangames.com.
www.bestmangames.com.
The stockists are all listed there.
Okay, hello. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, how are you? Go straight to the point. Time is going. Yes.
Yeah, my name is Emmanuel.
How are you, Emmanuel?
I'm fine, sir.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from VI.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I'm a driver, and I think my salary is about 30,000 naira a month. And I stay with the people that I work with, so my transport is safe, my
rent is safe.
Accommodation is safe.
Okay.
But I find it difficult to save. Like this year, I plan to save at least 15,000 naira a month out of the 30,000 naira. But to my surprise, I've not been able to save anything, and this is April. It's so difficult for me to save.
But what can you say? Just give us an idea of what was it going on. What were the major things that you had to dip into? What happened? Because if you have no rent costs, you have no transport costs. Then it's does your boss provide you with a meal, or do you eat at work, or?
No, I feed from the money.
Okay. So
then secondly, are
you married?
No, I'm not married.
You're not married you haven't got children, and you are spending all of that, and you can't save at all.
You don't spend money on transport. You don't spend on accommodation. Yeah.
One problem I have is I think my family, my relations like that, and I'm from Cross River, but I stay in Lagos, and once
you send money home.
The extended family, you're sending money to the extended family.
I send money a lot. I have a brother in the university which I assist with maybe 5,000 every month.
Yeah.
But somehow I really myself. I've been driving for a long time, but I don't have anything to show for it.
No, you said 15,000 out of the 30. I think that was a bit ambitious. That was too much. But even if you can come down and try to save 10,000 a month, or even if you start for a while, I mean, it's important that you assist your brother, because you need your family members to be independent so that he too can help with your aging parents. But at least at a minimum, you should be saving 5,000 a month. And the best way to do this is by direct debit. So the money should come out of your account on salary day before you even have a chance to have access to it. Because if the money, does your boss pay you in cash?
Yes.
Okay, stop that. Open a bank account and have your boss paying you into the bank account.
So you just withdraw what's necessary.
So yes, otherwise, if you have cash, it's going to be gone. And then every month, by direct debit, it should be taken 5,000 or whatever you think you can do, 10,000 should go out into savings that you don't have an ATM card for. So you're not tempted to keep going to that money. And then you just try, so you have to help out the family. But I hope you're not the only one that has to be helping and others are not doing their own, taking responsibility as well. Is it only you?
I somehow like that.
Okay.
There was a time I shot my phone, I changed my lines, I talk to anybody again, I switch off my phones for about 4 months, and they were looking for me all over.
But they survived.
So I really want to do.
But they survived. Nothing happened.
They did.
Yes. Oh, wow.
And did you save some money in those 4 months?
I did not really.
Oh, you see,
so it's you, not them.
So that's not the issue then. If in the 4 months you didn't save the money.
Okay,
then.
thank you so much now, okay? All right, hello. Hello.
Hi, Uncle Soni, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, Madam in the house, good afternoon. I didn't catch your name because I tuned in.
Nimi Akinkugbe.
Hello.
Okay, Nimi Akinkugbe.
And what's your name?
My name is Adobe.
Adobe. Huh?
Adobe.
Adobe, okay. How are you, Adobe?
Yes,
Yes, where are you calling from?
You. I'm calling from Lagos.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, just a quick one to request. Uncle Soni, can this be repeated? Because I really caught and when it was quite late.
In fact, the last edition, that was last week, I got about 17 requests for that. And now I'm hearing this again. We'll seriously consider it. We will seriously. Anything to help the family, because you are our family.
Oh, that's very nice to hear. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, my own question at the moment is, I'm building a house, 4 blocks of flats. But each time I get in the morning, I just send it straight to the building people and my mother, who's in charge of the building in Asaba, where I hail from. The advice now is, or the request I'm asking is, should I have savings? Because it's my savings I'm using to build the house. Because I'm looking at it in long term. By the time they pay my rent, one flat maybe for expenses, travel, and different things. That's just the advice I want to ask.
No, that's what you're doing is excellent, because that is going to earn you income. You're going to rent out. Asaba is a state capital. It's a perfect place to own property. So once you finish this property, you're going to let the flats out, aren't you?
Yes, I am, definitely.
Yes,
all of it.
Yes, so you're investing in your future. But you do need to have some cash for emergencies. You need an emergency fund to have some funds put aside in case you suddenly have some unexpected needs.
Okay.
Yes, so what we normally advise is you should have about 6 months of expenses in a savings account that you can dip into. You know how things happen. You need new car tires, the generator packs up, all those things, yes. So you can't afford to put every single thing into the property and have no cash.
Okay.
Okay, but you're doing the right thing. I mean, that's just great to own a block of apartments, an apartment block in Asaba.
Thank you very much. Uncle Soni?
Yep.
I could come find part-time job for an inspiration FM. How is it?
If I just give me one flat, then come.
Anything for you, bro.
Thank you, darling. God bless you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello. Hi.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for waiting. How are you? Go ahead. Go straight to the point.
My name is Dennis.
Your name is what?
Dennis.
Dennis. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. And now my question is, how can one cultivate the habit of saving? Because I find it very challenging to save money. Whenever the money gets to me, I spend it lavishly. I don't have
okay.
to save.
Because of the time left, you've asked the pertinent question, so let her answer. Okay? Yes.
Yes. Automating your savings is easiest way, because it's very, very difficult if you have the money yourself and you just spend it. But if at source, as your salary enters your account, there's a direct debit into your savings, that tends to help a lot of people, because what happens is if you try to wait till the end of the month, there's nothing left. It's best to have the savings go out as soon as your salary hits your account. Is that possible for you?
Well, I've cut him off. And I have so many questions. I'm just going to try and rush them. Listen very carefully, because some of them came from the different media. Greetings to you, Mr. Soni. I want to ask your guest, somebody that is engaged, and the budget for that month is like 60,000. Please, how can that person save that money? 60,000. Well, let's look at the basis of that amount.
I'll just say the same thing to everyone.
10%.
Yes, I mean at a minimum, if they can do more, but at a minimum, and automating the savings is critical.
Okay.
Because if the money comes into their hands, it's so difficult. So many other pulls on your income. But if you can have it sent out immediately, that helps. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to say it. He accuses the insurance industry of fraud. I had a policy with an insurance company, and when I needed the money, it came up with all sorts of excuses.
Somebody else has said that earlier. So
1.15 million is trapped in almost 8 years. And the other one said, well, thanks, I used my savings earning to build a house, divided into 214 factory. Maybe that's the lady that called earlier. Can I produce anything in cosmetics, pharmaceutical products, blah, 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 blah.
So.
Hello, I'm involved in our local saving method. Ajo, something like that. Have you heard of that before?
I've heard of Esusu.
Esusu, but this one says Ajo. What's Ajo?
Maybe it's a similar scheme.
Which I use for something tangible and need to save in the bank. Do I need to save in the bank?
The bank is more structured. You can people do very well with the what do they call it, like a contribution type mechanism.
Yeah, cooperative.
They're very, very effective. It's a cooperative. It's just an informal version of regular savings.
Yeah, sorry, I'm bungling your questions because I don't seem to be getting it too well. The bank is far away from me, and also considering the bank charges transport to and from discourage me. So what should I do? I don't feel like saving.
Oh no.
The other one says, will it be right to say the high interest rates for loans set by the central bank is not enough growth for our economy? What is wrong with a 3% rate as in the USA?
The costs,
you said there's high interest rates.
Yes, but the sheer costs of the business. I mean, the costs that the institutions.
Is that what they call the interbank rate and all of that?
They have significant costs, which is why they have to charge those rates. Sometimes the rates can seem outrageous, but the
haven't been in the industry before. Do you honestly think that that's fair? Can it go down? Oh, we're sorry. I'm putting you on the spot. Okay.
No, I find the rates outrageous.
Outrageous.
I do find them outrageous right now. It's very difficult for people to borrow.
I think banking is supposed to encourage growth, not to destroy it. So, all right, we've gone very far. One last call. Hello, just you, the last caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi. How are you? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Uncle Soni.
Good afternoon, my darling. How are you?
Very well, and thank you so much for bringing in Auntie Nimi.
Yeah.
I've been reading her columns, we've been following you from Genevieve Mangin, and so.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you.
Yes. Okay. My question is, I'm married. We're a young couple, and I wanted to, as regards to savings now, where you have what's the best ratio for sharing savings, the short-term savings and the long-term goal and short-term goal. And then second question is, if peradventure along the line we get a bulk sum of money, what can be the best form of way of reinvesting some of that money, and then continuing with the long-term savings and short-term savings? That's my question.
Okay, I'm cutting you off now, so she will answer you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm glad that you do have short, medium, and long-term goals. It's very difficult for me to say a particular percentage or ratio that should be for both. You have to look at the priorities. Which one the long-term goals need time to grow. And those are usually for the very big goals. So usually you tend to have to put aside a larger proportion for those long-term goals and keep a smaller amount for the short-term goals. But it's very difficult. You have to look at your own unique situation and determine what you can afford to do. What was the second question, Soni?
I think I was I think I forgot. I'm so sorry. I'm so anxious to end the program. Okay. I think what you was trying to say here, it had to do with short, long, medium, and long term.
Yes.
But
if she got some bulk money, she said.
Yeah. What would she
do
with it?
What
should she do with it?
Depending on if it's for the long term goals, she can afford to invest part of it in the stock market.
Okay.
But any money you should have a diversified portfolio, which means you have to have some cash. You have to have some stocks. If she's investing in real estate, that's fantastic as well. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. So it's very, very important that if she has a bulk amount, it is still divided into different proportions.
Now, what of that? I want to use that driver as a point of reference to the like-minded people, like maids, drivers, artisans, those who have very, very short, very minimum wage.
Yeah.
How should they manage?
They will have to just set aside funds on a regular basis. That's the only way, and do that for a long time.
What's your message for Inspiration Radio? Your music has started in the background.
Oh, wonderful! That's Victor Olaya, isn't it? Fantastic.
Yes. What's your message for Inspiration Radio? Yes.
The message is to always try to give back to the community that you come from, to do good and to do well.
So, you heard that message from Nimi Akinkugbe, very, very married, so don't ask me any other question. Through Inspiration Radio on Soni Irabor Live to us Nigerians out there, and I hope that you've had a good time. This is our job, just to make sure that family essence is alive. Go saving so that you can not feel beggarly or too much in need. And don't forget, Get TV, a big thank you to Channel 129 on Star Times. Tuesdays 8 p.m. and Sunday 1 p.m. Don't forget that. Get TV, Channel 129. And we'll play this song from Victor Olaya, Baby Me Jowo. Victor Olaya and Two-Face.
Oh, lovely. I love this version.
And this is how I say thank you. Nimi, thank you so much for honoring us. You flew in from Abuja for this. God bless you.
Thank you for having me.
It means that Soni Irabor Live and means that Inspiration Radio is going very far. God bless you all, because you are the ones making us who we are and what we should be. Thank you.
Now you will be my emotion, only you. Only you. Only you. Like this, like that, like that. So, dúró dè mí, kò gbé mi sáyà, kò wá fìfẹ́ tútù sọ́kàn mi. Adó, kò gùntánò ńkàládó, kò gùntánò ńkàládó, ológùntánò ńkàládó, ológùntánò, because ọmọ túkàrà, oya ọmọ túkàrà, ọmọ túkàrà. So, dúró dè mí, kò gbé mi sáyà, kò wá fìfẹ́ tútù sọ́kàn mi. Ẹ bá mi sọ fún Sisi yẹn, kò má yìí lọ, my baby make me bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Cause me and you we today lọ. Now you will be my ọmọ tó ń ṣọ́nà, only you. Victor Olaya. Respect, respect, respect. Maximum respect.